All right, I believe that we are live.
I think so too, Chloe. How are you?
Really well, thank you, Orlando. How's it going with you?
Well, I'm fine, thank you. Just got some really good trades. I hope some really
Oh,
good
excellent.
trades. Do you want me to start off with my share my charts?
Yeah, why not? Go for it.
All right, cool. Just let me share my screen. All right. And I'm going to do something that we have never done before. I'm actually going to invite people on social media to join us. All right, everybody, we are live. You can join us through our YouTube channel. All right, everybody, we are live. There you go. So, can everybody see my chart? I think so, right?
Yeah, we've got you.
Okay, cool. So, a couple of things that I was watching yesterday, and I was pretty angry that I couldn't be yesterday on the show because I had quite the setup that I wanted to share with everybody that's joining us through YouTube, right? And other social media. And it was in Brent. And the funny thing that I wasn't actually monitoring this market at all, but I had a short on the US dollar Canadian dollar, which was I ended up losing 25% of my entire risk on that trade because I didn't really like how the price action was trading at the moment. So because I was short the US dollar Canadian dollar, I was looking at some Canadian dollar strength, right? And one of the markets that gives strength to the Canadian dollar is crude oil. So I went and I opened my commodities charts, and I took a look at Brent and at WTI, and Brent caught my eye. In fact, that when I go and look for setups in crude oil, I always look at Brent first because this is my preferred product to trade crude oil with, just because it's less speculative than WTI, right? And I saw that we were actually retesting the lows or the previous weekly lows, which are these ones right here. Um, all of these ones right here, actually. The previous weekly lows um, around the 34, 39.40 level, okay? And I saw that this was a good swing level in the past. When I say swing level, I mean that price has swung around it. And here is where we got some buyers to take price all the way up to the 46.60 level, okay? So that caught my eye. The second thing that caught my eye was that we were trading inside of what seems to be a reversal pattern, right? At the bottom of this move, um, right here. And that we were kind of retesting. Now let me just change the template on this one. Okay, extend right. That's right. Kind of retesting. Um, no, this is the one. Actually, I'm sorry about that. No, this is the one exactly. Kind of retesting a structure at the bottom. Okay. Now, actually, this is a steeper structure that I was looking at. It doesn't matter because the move has already gone. But now that we are looking at moving Brent, the next key level that I'm watching is this one right here. Um, and the reason that I'm watching this level is because it has been tested heavily in the past, but also this is the level that buyers were protecting. Just look at this um, 3 hour candle that wasn't able to close below the previous lows, and then boom, buyers took price all the way up. So here is where I'm going to be taking off most of this trade, if not all of it, because I do believe that we might get a bounce from it. And this is purely technical, Chloe. I'm not talking about fundamentals at all. Even though that with the, with global economies opening and protocols easing around the world, the demand for crude oil products is rising, which is going to be bullish for this commodity. But I do believe that we might have some trouble breaking with these levels. Now, if we go to Brent futures, actually, let's have a look at where the volume is being traded in Brent futures. Okay, Brent. Let's have a look at Brent futures. Brent oil futures, the current contract, and I do believe that the heavy volume is being traded at that level that we were discussing. It's a 3-day chart. Actually, we're going to look at the 4-hour chart just to get an idea of where we can get, or where we're going to be getting some resistance. And as you can see, the point of control, or the heavy volume, is being traded at around that around those lows that I was pointing out. We were looking at this level right here, and this is where the heavy volume starts. As you can see on the histogram on the volume profile in Brent oil futures, or Brent futures. So I'm going to be looking at that 43 to 43.30 level to take some profits off of that trade, if not all of them, because this is going to be very heavy. I mean, there are going to be a lot of sell orders placed here, and it's going to take a lot of buyers to swipe them and turn them into buy orders to turn that resistance level into support, right? So that is the level that I'm watching, and I urge our watchers, or our viewers, I'm sorry, to watch the same level. And that is the chart that I wanted to share on yesterday's show. But it's completely fine, because we are looking at a possible bounce of that 43 level, and a possible short into that level, if that level holds. I don't know what you think about that, Chloe.
Yeah, Orlando looks great. Would you find any opportunity to scale into this position on its way up to that level, or is this just a trade that is that you've taken and you're going to let it get there and take profits?
That's a great question. Actually, I was looking at a level for possible scale in, and that would be here, this previous level of resistance, which are these highs right here. And as you can see, we did have somewhat resistance before breaking to the upside, and we haven't quite retested it yet. So if price action makes a comeback, comes back down here and rejects it, I would be scaling in, because it would give us a great risk to reward ratio should price actually retest the 4078 level. Why? Because we are in a current bullish structure, right? Making higher high, higher lows, higher high, higher lows. And if we were to retest this level, our stops would have to be below this low, which would give this scenario. Let's have a look at the risk to reward here. This scenario around these levels, right? A nice 1 to 3.9 risk to reward ratio on a scaling to hit that 43. I said 43.30. So that would be around a 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio to hit that heavy volume zone at the top, or right here at the 43, around the 43.30, 43.20 level. So that would be the only scenario that I would be looking to scale in on this move. But I've been watching price action and current auction in Brent, and I do not see heavy sellers, or on heavy sellers jumping in. But I mean, anything can happen. We can't predict the futures, right? The future, right? So I am looking at that chart for a possible pullback to this level for a scale in. If not, just letting it ride to complete that move that I was talking about.
Sure, and that's the thing, isn't it, Orlando, is all we're doing is we're looking for a suitable area to get into a trade. But if price doesn't reach that area, then there's no need to chase it. There's no need to jump in the wrong place. You just move on. And you've already got the position that you got into yesterday anyway. So awesome stuff.
Exactly. Another thing that I was looking at, and this might be in play today, guys, is the pound yen. And it's quite funny in the sense that it's very similar of what the setup that I was looking at the on Brent yesterday. So if we take a look at the pound yen, I mean we've had a very strong move to the downside for about 5% or 730 pips without a real pullback, but this one right here to retest this low, which I missed, by the way, but that's fine. That was a beautiful setup, a short setup, right? But right now we're testing this level that dates back to July, early July or late July 2020, right? And as you can see, we are, I mean, retesting and retesting. We have retested and retested this level for a while now, which is very similar of what we were looking at on Brent, right? And if we look at some patterns that price has created, let me just change the template. It's pretty similar to what we're seeing on Brent, in the sense that it looks also like a falling pennant that at the bottom of the move, right? And actually the structure that I was looking at, remember that I couldn't find the structure in Brent. Well, actually the structure I was looking at was in this market, not Brent. So this looks like a retest at the bottom of the structure, and right now we are breaking that structure to the upside. Full disclosure, I'm already long from the lows here. So what I'm looking at is a possible move to that previous retested support that turned resistance right here for a possible and when we I mean when we get here, and if we get here, which is I mean the higher possibility there's always two scenarios, right? The bullish and the bearish one. And but here in the pound yen, the highest probability setup, well, I mean, was on the bull side, right? Just given the fact that the pound, the GBP USD, the pound versus the US dollar just broke with its bearish structure, right? Um, and so the high probability setup was to the upside, on the bearish side, on the bullish side. I'm sorry, but we need to clear this level in order to in order for this move to be complete. Not the move, but the setup, in my opinion, right? Because we are still making lower highs, right? So when and if we break with this level, I do believe that we are going to see a recovery rally to at least that 138.20. I won't be looking to scale in on this trade because um, I'm pretty. I mean, I mean, when this happens, I will be running a free trade, and since I'm long from these lows, scaling in will be too heavy for me. But I mean, if this makes sense to you, the possible setup would be a retest of the previous high, just like in Brent, for a continuation higher. So that's the other market that I was looking at today.
Good stuff, Orlando. Yeah, it actually looks like a lot of the pound crosses are showing a little bit of recovery at the moment, which
Yes.
Who knows how long that might last, because
Exactly. And
we're not doing so well over here
yeah, I know.
with pretty much anything.
And with a breaking news of someone talking a no deal with the EU on Brexit or something like that, I mean, this scenario could completely evaporate.
Absolutely. Yeah, I
So
was
that's another reason. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just discussing that exact same thing with Ash this morning. He's being cautious on the pound trades, just because anything could happen. Really, we just need a bit of good news about some kind of a deal
Yeah.
happening, and then price could surge forward. But at the same time, we could just as easily get bad news, and it will put a damper on things potentially. But for now, it does look like the pound pairs are pretty strong for today. So
Yes,
take
definitely.
advantage of it.
That's exactly that. Those are exactly my thoughts. And the main reason I wouldn't be scaling in on that possible scale in scenario that we were discussing. But like you said, overall, it's looking. It's looking pretty strong overall. These are the pound crosses that I do watch, and they all seem to be in the positive for at least 0.5%. Well, not 0.5%, or at least 0.15%, which is quite strong, right? For example, the pound versus the Swiss franc is up. Um, what was it, 80 pips or so, which is from low to high, about 80 pips or so, or 0.4%. The pound versus the Singapore dollar, the same. And the pound versus the US dollar is quite strong today, up more than 0.7%. But I will be cautious with that trade, like you said. So what about you? What are you looking at?
All right, so let me just grab the screen and
Yeah.
I will show you.
All right.
So there were a couple of things that I was looking at yesterday,
Are you
and two of
talking
them.
Nasdaq short?
No, Nasdaq long. I'm looking at.
Oh, okay. No, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know it's perhaps contrary to what a lot of people are saying, and I absolutely have been saying this all along. At some point, it's likely that we're going to get a lower high, and when that happens, obviously I will no longer be trading long. But the analysis that I went through yesterday was based on these levels that I've got drawn in here. So we had this area of resistance, which was broken and then retested, ended up in a surge in the Nasdaq. That is the area that has just been retested twice over the last week or so, and it's held. It's held. Not only has it held, but there is another area, which is this previous high, broken, retested, retested slightly again, and we're above that level. So there isn't really a level of resistance above us right now that I see as a problem on the Nasdaq, apart from, you can see I've got the monthly pivot in here as well. I do use the monthly pivot as a potential for resistance, and because we're below that, that is something that I have to take into account. But at the moment, price action is still bullish, not necessarily as crazily bullish as it was previously, but in the short term, certainly up to that monthly pivot, I will be, and I said yesterday I'd be looking for long opportunities. There have been quite a few opportunities actually on my strategy. Let me just get my pen up. So there was an opportunity there which could have been taken. Failing that, this one here. So a couple of opportunities, and again, it is my job as a trend trader to trade with the trend, and this is trending up. This, we can see higher lows and higher highs in this chart. The daily time frame is supporting that bullish direction for now, and therefore it's my job to trade with that. What I am doing is I'm being a lot more conservative than I would usually be with my trade management, which means I am scaling out of trades earlier than perhaps I usually would, or I'm setting profit levels that are closer than I usually would, just to make sure I'm in safe trades, so that if price does turn around, I'm not going to lose anything. So that's basically my goal, while the trends are continuing, but a little bit less consistently, I would say, with a little bit less determination. Now that those two opportunities are gone, we still do have space up to the monthly pivot. I'm still going to be taking long opportunities if I see them all the way up to the monthly pivot here. That's where I will stop. And if price does manage to break above the monthly pivot, then I will pick up on long opportunities. If it doesn't, if it bounces here and comes back down, then we're more likely to be in a situation where that would then be a lower high, which would then stop me from trading long on the Nasdaq. The S&P is very similar. So also trades here on the S&P. This level that I have marked in here, let me just go back up to the daily. That is the previous all-time high. So that was the all-time high from back in February. We broke through that relatively recently, more recently than with the Nasdaq. We came back below that level, and we have come back up above it again. So sitting above that level is significant for me. That is a psychological level. It was the all-time high. We can see it has been a little bit of resistance here. It has been a little bit of support. It's not the strongest level because its price has hardly been up here, so it's hardly been tested. But the fact that price is above that level just gives me a little bit more confidence to continue trading long on this one. The one thing I do need to do with this is add in the monthly pivot, because I know that is close by. So there were some trades earlier on, super close by, exactly. There were some trades earlier on, specifically the retest of this level. Now that could have been, this control panel is in my way. So that could have been on the 30-minute time frame, a test of that level, or on the hourly time frame test of that level. Those were the two time frames I was focusing on. This level, it looks a bit of a mess, because, as I say, price has hardly been here, so it hasn't had the chance to form itself into a really strong, hard level of support or resistance. But it's the only level I've got to work with. And the fact that price broke through that level and came back and retested it so nicely, either with this low test bar here or this low test bar here, either one of those, such nice tests of that level. We can see where it's been resistance just here. And then it's finally been broken through. Price has come back to retest that level, and then off it goes. All I was aiming for was the monthly pivot, because I do see that as resistance. But who's to say that price won't break through that monthly pivot, which then will just mean I'll look for another long opportunity if price gets above there. If it doesn't, again, then it's looking like potentially could be a lower high forming, and that will change things quite drastically. But until then, I'm just going to continue trading that long. So as I say, they're not necessarily long-term positions. All I'm doing, and all my goal is, I was speaking about this with Ash this morning, all my goal is really, bearing in mind that I am in about a month's time going to no longer be trading for the rest of the year probably. My goal is to conserve capital, so low risk and conservative trade management. And my goal is to end this month on a high, end what's left for me of next month on a high, and just make sure that I'm prioritizing conserving capital. I'm not looking to take massive, great big 10-to-1 trades here, which is usually what my strategy is good at picking out. But I'm just trading very, very conservatively. So if I can take a trade that just gets me from here up to the monthly pivot and gives me a nice 2-to-1 profit, then perfect, no problem at all with that.
You're also not looking at trading long-term trends, right? That would be counterintuitive in your situation.
Right, exactly, which is, I mean, let's take Aussie as an example. So Aussie, I have been in these Aussie trades since, let me see, where did I get into this one? I got into this one June. So I've been in this trade since June. I'm
You
still
didn't get
in the
stopped
trade.
out.
No.
That's some master stop loss positioning right there.
Yeah, I've been in a couple of trades since June. These ones I have held. I've had other trades open that I have closed, but these ones I've held. And do you know what, Orlando? I'm not sure that this trend will continue for the next 3 months. Probably it's not going to. But normally my trading, I would hold this trade open until the very end. I would hold it to the death because that's the way that I trade. I get into a trend and I hold it for as long as I possibly can and take as much out of the trend as I can. But I just think that much as I'd like to think, oh yeah, I can still hold this trade over the next few months, I think my mind is going to be elsewhere. And I think it would be irresponsible of me to hold this trade open, even if it is still positive, even if it is still trending upwards. Then I think it would just be irresponsible of me to hold it open. So I'm gonna be closing all my positions around mid-October. I'm not looking to be in any more trades. So that again does impact on my decision making. I'm just looking to get into something, take a profit, get out, make sure I stay safe, and that's it really.
And the good thing is that you have your overall plan. I mean, you already planned ahead, which is what we do actually, what you're going to do in mid-October. So that's pretty cool.
So important, Orlando. I can't stress enough how important having a trading plan is and sticking to that trading plan. And it can change.
I agree.
You know, my trading plan this month is different from what it was last month. Your trading plan can change. You can be flexible, but you do need something to be following to keep you on track. Definitely.
Totally agree.
So yeah, obviously Aussie dollar is another thing that I am actually still looking at to the upside because it is still trending long. And I believe it was the 30-minute time frame here as well that gave us our intraday opportunity on the Aussie. Yeah. So I was looking.
You know what? It's funny that you mentioned that because yesterday for me, maybe earlier, I mean, maybe at the beginning of the day for our APAC viewers, I had a continuation trade idea, and I had my stop orders right at the 3310 level, which I believe is that last push that we've had on the Aussie. Because it was during my downtime, I decided not to take that trade because I wasn't going to be looking at my charts to manage it, and I don't trade the Aussie that often. But it's funny that you mention it, actually.
Yeah, yes. Always good to be looking in the same direction as you at least. So yeah, this was the level that I had in mind, where because we did see a retracement on Aussie, we did see this pretty decent retracement down here, which almost looked like it was going to turn into perhaps a further move down. You know, we got this high test bar here. It was looking pretty bearish for a while. And so really that kind of accumulation of price action around there was a fairly heavy focus, because that's where we saw the big drop. Tested a few more times. Once price got back above that level, that's when I was then starting to look for more long Aussie opportunities. Retested this level a couple of times, not very cleanly. It's a bit of a messy level, and I've been finding with the chart patterns I've been seeing across pretty much everything, they've been very messy. Gold, very messy. Japanese yen, very, very messy. But we can still use them as a roadmap, and this, I mean, it's not a double bottom even, but this rejection of this level here, followed by the move up, the higher high, the retest of that higher high. Let's put it back onto the 30. So there is there's the level there. So this is the lower level that we found as support. Price came through, broke to a higher high, came back to retest that level, and away we go. So that's it. That's basically exactly what I was looking for with Aussie dollar.
Look very good.
Yeah, and now all I have to do is wait for the next level to break. I can't trade through this level because it may hold, but if this level breaks and then retests, then I'll be looking again for a long position.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty simple strategy, and simple works best, in my opinion, when trading the
Definitely
markets.
does. It definitely does.
Yeah.
Works best and is easiest. Why do something in a complicated way when we can keep things simple?
I totally agree. And waiting for those retests gives us a best risk to reward on our trades rather than trading
Exactly.
through them or pushing through those levels. I really
That's
like the
exactly
way,
right. Yeah.
yeah, I really like your approach on the markets. Very similar to mine. I mean, just trading key levels, and breakouts of, well, on my side, breakout of patterns. For example, on that retest of the 72.96 to 72.97 level, I mean, that trade would have been right above the previous high for me. That
Around
would,
here.
yes, around there. That would have been my trigger.
Yeah.
My trigger to go long.
Yeah. So the entry for both of us would have been really similar.
Yes,
But
exactly.
we just would have had the timings like, so you would have entered around here. I've just waited a little bit longer and entered pretty much at the same area that you're looking at, just a little bit later on.
Yes, exactly. I mean, the same validation and invalidation levels for both of us.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. All right. So I think we'd better start talking about drawing things to a close, because we have the US session preview coming up in 10 minutes time with Jeff. I think you're in that as well. Are you, Orlando, today?
I am in tomorrow, actually.
Oh, you're in tomorrow, actually.
All no, right. I am in today. I am in today. Yes, today's Wednesday. I am in today. Thank you for reminding me.
No worries. It's just because I was in with Ash this morning and he kept mentioning he was looking forward to having you in the show this afternoon.
I am in today with Ash and Jeff. So don't forget to join us, because it's going to be great.
Awesome. Yes, always a good show, that one. So that is in 10 minutes time. I myself have my strategy leader coaching in just under an hour from now. So those of you who are on the income creator strategy support pathway, please do feel free to join me. It should be, I believe that Jeff Nass show will be finished by then. So please do come and join me for that. And we will be discussing all things income creator.
Awesome.
Awesome, Orlando. I will speak to you then tomorrow, same time tomorrow.
Talk to you tomorrow, Chloe.
All right.
Have
Cheers,
a great
Orlando.
one.
You
Bye.
too. See ya.